If you can't resist seafood, it's a great idea to keep a bunch around in the freezer. But there are right and wrong ways to freeze fish, so we consulted a couple of experts to learn the ins and outs of proper prep and storage. Some types of seafood handle freezing much better than others. According to Ricky Brenlow, the chef at Zeke's Landing in Orange Beach, Alabama, firmer fish like cobia or mahi-mahi hold up well in the freezer. In contrast, oily fish such as Spanish mackerel should ideally be enjoyed fresh. Crustaceans are also commonly frozen to preserve their freshness. Shrimp can be frozen fresh or cooked, either with or without shells, although it's generally advised to freeze them raw in shells with the heads removed. Oysters and clams can be frozen either in their shells or shucked, although it's important to remember they must be cooked once thawed. Seafood frozen at the peak of freshness is comparable and sometimes superior in quality to fresh fish. This is because freezing seafood at its prime stops the deterioration process in its tracks. To obtain the highest quality, it's best to shop at reputable fish markets, rather than a local supermarket where it may not be as fresh. Additionally, when buying seafood, ask for it to be packed with ice to ensure it stays cool on the way home.
I'm gonna keep it cool.
It's important to handle fish appropriately before freezing. Since the internal organs can be a breeding ground for bacteria, they should be removed as soon as possible. If left for a prolonged period of time without cleaning, blood might seep into the meat, making it more difficult to remove later. To gut a fish, rinse its exterior with plenty of water to remove any debris before scaling it. Next, cut along the belly and remove the gills, internal organs, and residual blood. Finally, clean the fish again under running water and either freeze it whole or skin and fillet it first. Once the fish is gutted and cleaned, it's important to dry it thoroughly before freezing. The best way to do this is to pat it dry with paper towels. Any residual moisture can affect the seal on the packaging and lead to the formation of crystals, which can in turn damage the texture of the fish, making it mushy and stale when defrosted. Proper packaging is crucial to prevent seafood from developing freezer burn or oxidation that leads to discoloration and changes in flavour. As Brenlow advises, seafood should be sealed in an airtight bag, ensuring there are no residual air pockets or holes. This helps maintain quality and prevents freezer burn. Since supermarket packaging usually isn't airtight, it's important to repackage seafood before it's frozen. There are several options, each with their pros and cons. Brenlow told us, "We recommend using vacuum-sealed bags for the best results. If those aren't available, you can use double-zippered bags, plastic containers, or wrap the seafood in freezer paper." Michael Chavez, kitchen development manager at the Angry Crab Shack, recommends using the water freezing method to force air out of the packaging prior to freezing seafood, especially if you don't have a vacuum sealer set up in your kitchen. As he instructs, using a large pot with cool water, slowly drop a freezer bag of filled product into the pot of water, and as the bag drops, the water will force the air out, and then just finish the seal. There's a good chance that the frozen seafood you buy at the supermarket has been flash frozen, which consists of rapidly freezing at an extremely low temperature. There are both commercial procedures and more common household ways of freezing seafood. It's also important to note that leaving seafood in the danger zone above 40 degrees Fahrenheit is a big no-no. Instead, place it in a single layer on the lowest shelf, which is the coldest area of the freezer. It'll ensure maximum exposure to cold air. Furthermore, cooked seafood needs to be cooled before freezing. As Chavez notes, do not go directly from cooking to freezing. Once at room temperature, pat the product dry to remove excess moisture. Use a heavy plastic or freezer-safe bag. Remove as much air as possible, and then freeze. Freeze! As a general guideline, the USDA recommends storing frozen raw fish for up to 8 months, cooked fish for up to 3 months, and shellfish for up to 12 months. With this in mind, it's super important to label and date your seafood. The simple act of jotting down the contents of your freezer container and noting when it was frozen can prevent a lot of confusion, not to mention food waste. In the most extreme cases, it can also prevent foodborne illnesses. While standard paper labels can work in a pinch, you may want to invest in special labels specifically designed for freezer conditions. It's advisable to pre-portion seafood prior to freezing. After all, it would be a shame to have to thaw a whole batch if you only need a single serving. To divide a whole fish into portions, gut it, wash it, and cut it into 3 or 4-inch thick steaks. Freezing multiple fillets in a single bag isn't advisable as it can lead to freezer burn. While there are varying opinions on the matter, some people recommend freezing fish with the skin on whenever possible to reduce the risk of it drying out in the freezer. This may also help you identify the fish later on if you forgot to label the packaging. On the flip side, you may want to remove the tougher skin from the likes of walleye and catfish, as they come with a layer of slime that can impart a strong fishy flavour. Ensuring your freezer is at the correct temperature is crucial for maintaining the quality of your seafood. According to the USDA, a home freezer should be kept at 0 degrees Fahrenheit to ensure that seafood retains its quality and remains safe for consumption. It's important to note that different areas of the refrigerator and freezer vary in temperature. For instance, it's generally advised not to store eggs in the refrigerator door, since this area experiences temperature fluctuations each time you open and close it. For similar reasons, storing seafood in the freezer door is a big no-no. Instead, it's best to keep it in the coldest area of the freezer, which is usually at the back of the lowest shelf.